TV. Remember, we're not in the studio. We are coming to you live from the MSU campus. We're bringing awareness to all the good things the CAST, Child Advocacy Studies Training, is doing. I hope you are as excited as I am about going back to school so we can take this training. But we're going to round out our day learning about all the good stuff that's coming from it. Joining us is Ted Cross. He's a senior research specialist who really dove into those that had gone through the program here in Mississippi and then how it's faring for being advocates for children. So, hey, Ted.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I am doing well. I am learning all the pieces to the Mississippi Children's Advocacy Centers and how they created CAST and, creating this workforce out there that is really centered around being great advocates for children. And I think that's a great thing. So you went back and sort of researched, I guess, how's the program doing? So what'd you find? How great are we doing?
Well, we surveyed 608. I've got some of the numbers here. We surveyed 618 college and graduate students in Mississippi to learn about the impact of CAST. We included both students who were in CAST programs and other comparable students, like psychology and social work students, who were in schools who had not yet adopted CAST. Those were the comparison students. And we had some very, very interesting outcomes of our study. First of all, we learned that the CAST students really, really valued the program. Not because it was easy, but because it was hard. They were actually learning about child abuse. In some of the learning was through simulations of real experiences dealing with families who were affected by child abuse. It was often an emotional roller coaster, and they didn't mince words. They said it was hard, but they got through it and they learned, and they had a really deep experience of what it was like to deal with these families and understand these families, and they valued that. That was our first finding.
Ted, we just talked to Sophia, who is a student here at MSU, who said just watching her own bias be confronted, watching sort of the class sort of change perspective. So that sort of lines up with, those hard simulations, really giving you a different perspective on what the work entails and then what really is going on in those situations. So you just confirmed that for her, or for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A second finding is that CAST students really had better knowledge, a statistically significant difference compared to their non-CAST peers. They really knew the system better. They actually even knew the system better before they took their CAST courses. They probably because they had a little more experience, more interest, and more prior knowledge. So one of the benefits of CAST is to really draw together and support those students who really, at a young age, know that they want to be out there helping kids. So that is a really important effect of the program as well. And
right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say yes. I mean, you would think if a workforce better understood the system they were going into, they would be a more effective workforce once they got out there, right? They would just be a few steps ahead instead of having to catch them up once they're out there in the field.
Right. And a third finding really pertained to those students who had really invested and were taking a whole set of CAST courses through the CAST certificate and minor programs. We looked at the students both at the beginning and at the end of the semester. We took survey data at the beginning, and then we came back to them at the end. And we presented them with a series of scenarios that have been used in previous research with professionals, scenarios in which they were presented with information about a hypothetical case, and they were asked to make a judgment about whether abuse had occurred and how they should respond. And we found that the CAST students' judgment improved over the course of the semester. So they were really getting that first introduction to being a professional, to knowing how to respond to these cases. And we thought that was a very important outcome.
Well, Ted, it sounds like you had nothing but good things or found nothing but good things from the students who went through the CAST program. In terms of Mississippi, I mean, are we leading the way in the CAST program? Tell us how great we're doing.
Yes, Mississippi has the only statewide CAST initiative. There are more schools providing CAST by far than in any other state. And the Children's Advocacy Centers of Mississippi deserves enormous credit in making this a statewide program and not just a program limited to individual schools.
Well, Ted, I totally appreciate your time. I appreciate all the hard work you've done in your research. It just goes to show what we've learned today is that CAST, Child Advocacy Studies Training, is a good thing. It's doing good work, and we hope people who are interested in it will learn more about it, which they'll get to do because the boys are coming up next with Sports Talk from 3 to 6. But Rhino and I will meet you back tomorrow at 2 or Monday at 2. But until then, I hope you all find time for the good things.